Good morning, Coach Slack here once again, continuing our readings on the ascetical homilies of St. Isaac the Syrian. We are on day 43, continuing Homily 5, page 158. But if you say that these things were granted to the saints from God by way of economy, and that it was for special reasons that they were deemed worthy of such visions, then let the holy martyrs be examples to encourage you. The martyrs, often many together, but sometimes one alone, in places both many and diverse, contested for Christ's sake, with the secret strength that came to them by courageously endured in bodies of clay the lacerations of iron and torments of every kind, things that surpass nature. But also to such as these, the holy angels would manifestly appear, so that every man might learn that divine providence is very near to those who in every manner endure both every temptation and every affliction for the Lord's sake, for their encouragement and for the shaming of their enemies. For inasmuch as the saints were roused to manliness by visions of this kind, to just such a degree did their adversaries rage and become frenzied with wrath at their unyielding patience. But what need is there to speak of the ascetics, though strangers to the world, and of the anchorites, who made the desert a city and a dwelling place and a hostelry of angels? For the angels continually visited these men, because their modes of life were so similar, and as being troops of a single sovereign, at all times they kept company with their comrades in arms, that is to say, those who embraced the desert all the days of their life, and took up their abode in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth because of their love for God. And since, having abandoned things earthly, they loved the heavenly, and were become imitators of the angels, rightly did those very same holy angels not conceal the sight of themselves from them, and they fulfilled their every wish. Wow. So, obviously a very beautiful theme here. Keeping company with the angels, not so much just in a, ephemeral sense, meaning like knowing they're close by, believing in their existence, but actually them revealing themselves, right? And so, and St. Isaac says something here also that reminded me of the icon of the Apocalypse, or from Revelation. And I'll continue my first train of thought, hopefully, with this. And he's talking about the angels manifestly appearing, as I'm saying, in actuality appearing, so that every man might learn that divine providence. So there's another train of thought. Providence has been really big in reading the lives of the saints with me recently. But anyhow, is very near to those in every manner endure both every temptation, every affliction for the Lord's sake, for their encouragement and for the shaming of their enemies. For inasmuch as the saints were roused to manliness by visions of this kind, to just such a degree did their adversaries rage and become frenzied with wrath at their unyielding patience. So here's the second train of thought that I was having. Often when you're leaving monasteries, especially on the holy mountain Athos and some others I've noticed, and hopefully some churches out there too, you'll often see the Apocalypse, the Apocalypse, or the Revelation, Armageddon, the end times, the Judgment Day icon on the wall, leaving the building to go back out into the world. And this is not an accident, of course. This is to remind us of what's at stake, and what's in these couple paragraphs that's making me think of that is, from the same source comes the light or the fire that burns and consumes, and the light that shines and illuminates, right? From the same source. It's really a matter of our state of being, and this brings me to another thought that I heard a father one time giving a talk about. The sun, the properties of the sun don't change. We know that anywhere there's light, or the sun, that we have light and that we have heat, right? And so if we put, and I remember this father talking one time, he said, if we put a some mud under the sun all day, it's going to bake, it's going to dry up, it's going to crack and kind of fall apart, right? Whereas if we put a collection of beeswax candles under the sun, they're going to soften, they're going to melt, they're kind of joined together, right? And does that mean the properties of the sun are changing? No, it's the state in which the material, it's the state of the material that's different. Mud versus the beeswax, it's the properties of that material, the state of being of that material, that's what's different, and the sun's not changing. So again, going back to that icon I'm talking about from the same source. So what state is Judgment Day going to find us on? One that can be illumined and enlightened, softened, and kind of come together as one? Or is it going to bake us and break us and, are we going to dry? We're dry inside, not soft. But anyway, so these are some of my thoughts. And then, like I said, my first train of thought was just how beautiful it would be to live such a life worthy to be in actual company with the angels, because we're participating in the things that were revealed to us that they do, namely worshiping and loving God with our whole existence, rather than us being distracted and pulled into the world's once and kind of serving ourselves or serving some other masters in the context of the world, rather than being in the world but not of it, loving God, being thankful, because really our time on earth is so short in the end. And I remember one time reading nurses, it was a collection of stories from nurses, and they were talking about what people regret or wish they had done at the end of their lives. And no one is going to say, I wish I'd worked one more day, or these types of things, or I wish I'd made like $100 more, but spending time with our loved ones, valuing what was most important while we had the means to do it, while we had the health, because that's what's most important, right, is our health. And so while we have the ability, the health, the cognitive ability, these are the things that are most important. And so let us use our time wisely, loving God and displaying that love by treating our fellow humans with love and kindness. So in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Amen.